Hey all, welcome to Circle of Tone, and today, a bit of a reaction to some of the comments that have been going on for my videos. For those guys that don't know, I'm new to the channel. I am pretty infamous for being a detractor for modern metal. I've uploaded videos on why the underground is dying, why rock and metal are dead compared to the scene back in the day, and I also have done videos like the progressive metal drinking game. I sometimes worry that I'm too progressive, because nobody's ever heard anything like this in progressive metal and gent. I made a mistake, it still sounds fucking good. Guess it's gonna cover up my shit clean tone and nobody will know. It's even out of tune. So obviously I'm going to get some flack in the comments, and that's completely understandable. I'm a big boy, I could take it. So let's talk about the bands that come up the most often when people try and argue a case for against my videos about progressive and gent. All right, let's get to it. People think that I am old school. I am the true metal gatekeeper, the elite. The neckbeard has spoken. So kind of half true. No. All right, so the bands that come up the most often are, bro, what are you talking about? You obviously haven't heard Periphery. What about Sky Harbor? What about blah, blah, blah? I don't take offense to this because, you know, people just roll up on my channels and they don't know me and they don't know I even play guitar sometimes on these videos. So, you know, to say somebody in the heavy metal community who's on YouTube, have you heard of Periphery? It's kind of, maybe think before you type. But do I like Periphery? Do I support them? What's the deal? Let's go back to before Periphery released a CD. You wanna talk about metal gatekeepers? You wanna talk about neckbeards? I was into them before they were even Periphery. I actually contacted Bob back in the day. That was Misha's project, to be on this CD. Now, who's on this CD? This is before they released an album, okay? Sky Harbor are on this CD. Back then they were called Nutrigent. Keshav is a genius. Love that guy. So this is me asking all these bands to be on this CD. Also, who else is on here? Toxic Grind Machine, right? Really underrated. I'm surprised they didn't get signed. That's one of the best tracks on here. Burn Bright Dry Jackal, for you guys. My old band Automaton is on there. Oh shit, I forgot about that. But End It All is on here. You guys know all about them, you progressive guys. This is before they were signed, right? World of Shit, you underground, they're still going strong, I think. Also on here are Tesseract, before they were signed. So I was putting together CDs for the community before these bands were signed. I've been in the underground. I've been to Wimbledon Common. I'm a wombling free through the metal ether. All right. So this is Circle of Tone, bitch. We don't mess around. So yeah, I was doing the equivalent of tape trading. What we did, I started a thread because I was seeing all these amazing bands, like Tesseract were amazing. Is it Ackle? And obviously Bob. Bob didn't get back to me. Bob didn't end up getting on here, but then they got signed, I think, a few months later, and then they released the first Periphery disc. I was seeing all these great guys on the forums releasing stuff, which I knew I should be an A&R man, because half of these bands blew up, you know? And the ones that didn't were still valid. They're still good bands. Yeah. Sky Harbor were called Hydrogent back then. So, and Dots was the name of the song. So that, I think that opens Blinding Light, the album. out of all of them, Sky Harbor was my favorite. Absolutely brilliant. That first album was probably, for me, for the peak of songwriting, because the songs were really good. But there was still, obviously, I like Periphery. Obviously, I don't actually go out of my way to listen to Periphery, I'll be honest. But if a video comes up, I'll listen to it, and I do respect them. What the crux of my videos, which people don't understand, this is it. Listen up, kids. Okay, put down your Easy Drummer manual. Okay, put down your 5150 and your SM57, and listen to Uncle Neckbeard. Okay, it's the copycats that drove me insane. Once Periphery started coming out, which they were influenced. I think even they will admit that they were Meshuggah and Sixth fans. You know, obviously the influence is there, right? But then they came out and they did their own thing with it, right? And these other bands come out and they're copying Periphery down to the vocal inflection, down to the 8-minute songs, down to the style of the drums, the compression. You know, they're even buying his. You know, he's got drum kits out, Nolly, and funnily enough, on my bass video, this is why I love metal. On my Do Not Trust YouTuber's bass video, you know, for how to get a good bass sound through a tube amp. Everybody commented, oh, Nolly, Periphery, Nolly's the best bass tone. If you listen to any Periphery album, you cannot hear the bass at all, unless it's like a specific song where the bass is playing when the guitars are low. You can't. All the Periphery Nolly bass video is about is a bass playthrough where the bass is 3 times as loud as it usually is, and it sounds great. You know, because one of my things about modern metal is you can never hear the bass anymore, and that's one aspect of prog and gent that I hate. That you can't hear a brilliant player like Nolly, absolutely amazing, and you know he's partially to blame because he produced half these albums, but that is part of my irk is that bass guitar has disappeared. That is part and parcel with gent, you know, because of the low frequencies. So it's practically all virtual birth synths going. But yeah, I was into it. But if you're as old as me, half of these people that are commenting say, hey, what about Periphery, douche? Imagine if you've been listening to Periphery since before they were Periphery and then listening to a million bands copying Periphery. All right? Imagine how that grates. The same thing happened to me with black metal. Now everybody is doing the buzzsaw guitars. The fucking underground is nothing, almost, I'd say 80, well, I don't know the percentages, but the vast majority of the underground is black metal ripoffs, copying the heavy metal 2-pedal. It's like, and after 30 years, it starts grating. It's like, come on. Is it more progressive than Sixth? Than the early Sixth? This prog metal? The copycats are driving me insane, and that's what got me to. It's so unpopular in the music. If you're not a musician, prog and gent is practically non-existent in the public. There's not many non-musicians that like it, and why? Because it has a lot of akin to do with dance music and disco and the straight fucking nothing. Everything is huge. Everything is glitzy. Everything is overproduced. So that. And it's getting to a point where it's a parody of itself now. Heavy metal is living in the past, and there is no progressive metal. There's a few bands out there that push the envelope, but they're not grabbing the attention because they're not the full package. You know, speaking of neckbeards, it's like we need songs. I'm not saying, you know, we need Kumbaya, but we need songs back in metal, because metal was never just as heavy as you could get and as brutal as you could get and as loud as you can get. It was never all about that. It was mostly attitude, you know? I mean, one of the best feedback I got from any of my videos was from my Danzig video. And that is low gain, sleazy, oily rock. And that just gets people going, you know? If people hear another Meshuggah ripoff, another, you know, it's all, yeah, your production's getting slightly better, but the songs are still fucking 9 minutes long and all over the place, and they try and put everything in one song. Clean, the lo-fi moments, the stutter moments. Next one, gotta take a shot. if you hear a stutter effect at the start of a song. The bass drop moments, the drops, the thing, it's like, it's all got to be in that one song. It's like, stop. So yes, I've heard of Periphery. Yes, I've heard of Animals as Leaders. Obviously I have. I'm a metal guitarist on YouTube, so it's hard to fucking avoid it with the way things are going. So musicians, take note. If you want to stand out, drop the heavy metal 2 pedal, drop the fucking corpse paint, drop the metronome, drop the SM57 and a vintage 30 that everybody's doing, because it's become one long vanilla sausage of sameness. So I just listened to the new Periphery track, the Blood Eagle, and I'll be honest, I listened to the track without the video first of all, and I was like, it's Periphery. I listened to it, and then I watched it with the video. I was like, oh, this is good, because the visuals get you going, the rest of it. But outside of that, there were moments in it that were I loved some of the singing on it. They did a little new twist on some of the actual hooks, the singing, and I did like some of that. But the rest of it was, the brutal vocals and the rest of it, and that's kind of, now it's nails on a chalkboard, because 20 years later, let's start moving on from progressive and gent. So respect Sky Harbor, respect to the Tesseract, respect to Periphery, and especially respect to Meshuggah and Sixth, because they practically started the whole bloody thing. But let's start something new. Let's start bringing hooks, choruses, and verses that are chantable and sing-alongable, and you can wave your beer to it and the rest of it, because we're getting lost. The art is lost. The band aspect is lost, the humanity is lost, and then it's not a little bit rock and roll, it's a little bit overproduced. And our brains don't like perfect, we like a bit of chaos. I think if we bring back more chaos, if we drop the metronome, if we get everybody in a room, even Meshuggah did that on the last album. The last album was actually recorded live. So there's a lot that needs to be done. And I think we should maybe look at Meshuggah, who's come full circle, and start recording as a band without one main mastermind and a few hired guns to flesh it out. All right. So chaps, if you like these types of vids, please subscribe. Channel's in trouble. I won't lie. Maybe I should sell out and start playing fucking gent. But then again, Periphery were one of probably the biggest prog metal band around. And they recently had an interview which alluded to the records not really being able to live off the music anymore. So it's even the best. If the best can't make money off their album sales, can't make a living off album sales, what are the rest of you going to aspire to? Do you want to be a starving musician, or do you want people to actually appreciate your art? It's and support you, not just give you a thumbs up. Although that helps. All right, so I have my own pickups out. You can hear them right now. Here are the $1 strings. Less than $70. Go grab yourself a pair. Also, I have merch and everything, and if you want to donate, go to circleoftone.com. And most of all, thanks to my patrons of Tone. And if you want to see a name here, become a patron of Tone. Let me just see who the last one is. Okay, so we have a new patron, and his name is William P. I won't say his last name, but thank you, William. You really helped this channel out, and I appreciate that. So, I'm proud of this. The plan was we sold it to forum members, because there's a lot of people on the forums back then, so they would buy the CD, and I would take that money and I would print out more CDs and mail them to record companies all over the world. So I sent out a shit ton of CDs to try and get these bands signed, and a couple of them got signed. I'm not going to say it was from this at all, but it's we tried to make an effort because I knew that there was some good stuff on there back in the day. So the forum, this is still in its sleeve. It's got some cracks on it because it's too heavy. It's trying to burst out because it is a molten slab of the underground back in the day. So it's a nice little time capsule, and it's a lot of fun doing it. So chaps, if you know a band that you think are getting no traction, try and do something like that. Try and get them to, it's self-serving as well, because I put my band on that. So it's not like I'm Mother Teresa. You've been awesome. It's coming up soon. Iggy Pop and the Stooges. I Want to Be Your Dog is coming up next. Have a good one. Subscribe, like, share, and try and save Circle of Tone.